This episode is brought to you by Barefoot Dreams. Check us out. I'm holding one of their blankets they gave me right here in the studio. I'm touching this cozy chic fabric. If you're not watching, maybe you can hear it. Wait, you can't hear it on the mic because it's the softest material ever made. It's so soft, it's not going to have any audio. Sorry for anybody who's really interested in the special. What's that audio thing called again? Why am I blanking on that? I don't know. I'm blanking today. Am I blanking? No, I'm holding a blanket. And what I love about them is it's not just blankets. They have pillows. They have robes. They have shirts. They have athleisure wear. They have all things in between, and everything is the comfiest stuff. It is called Cozy Chic Fabric is the official name because that's exactly what it is. It's super cozy. It's super chic. I'm so grateful they're a part of this season. They've just made this studio so comfy. They made my life comfier. I got it all over my house now. My kids love it. My wife loves it. Also, shout out to Alpha Pals, who is their sister company. They also make these little letters, which is really cute for kids and parents. And this has been really fun to also integrate this into this season. So we've had a blast with them this season so far. And because you're a listener, because you're a viewer of the pop-up show, you can make your life incredibly cozy by entering the promo code POPUP15 for 15% off your first purchase at barefootdreams.com.
Yeah, I wanted to make you try and not sound like you're from the Bronx. Can you do it? Have you
Yeah.
ever done it before?
I thought I was doing it this whole time.
Yes, hello, welcome back to the Pop-Up with Paul and Friends. Guys, I'm so glad you're here. I feel fresh this season. This next guest, guys, I'm so glad she's here. She's all the way here from New York. We got to meet during the New York Comedy Festival. She did my New York Comedy Festival show. She's a hilarious comedian. I've been a fan of her work for years. And to be friends with her now and have her in the pod is a real treat. I'm going to get her name right. Put your hands together for Tara Cannistraci, everybody.
Killed
You
it.
did a little fist pump right away. I like that.
Yeah, right. New York comes right out.
Yeah, why not? So wait, we were just talking about Stacy versus
Cannistraci versus Cannistraci.
So you Americanize a little bit because it's easier to remember, you think?
Yeah, I just think it's easier for people to say. People still can't say Cannistraci, so getting them to say Cannistraci is like, it's even explain what the CI sound is would be next to impossible, especially as a performer. People can't say my name to begin with.
I'm the same way, and I've been insecure about like stage naming my whole career, and literally every other month I'm like, I'm going to Costa, I'm shortening, but you want to keep the Italian, right?
I you know what? I wanted to change it, but I had done so many things with it, and I was like, now I can't change it. And now I'm happy I didn't change it.
Yeah.
Because ethnic is cool, apparently.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back.
We don't. Dean Martin had to change his,
Yeah,
but now it came full
right.
circle.
So
It's a Google thing. I feel the same way about mine, honestly. It's like I've had enough stuff.
how do you pronounce your name?
I go Costabile now, but mine's a more snobby story. I went to Italy, lived there for half a year, and came back and was like, I'm Costabile now.
Oh, right.
I used to be Costabile growing up, and
Yeah.
all my family says it that way.
Castabile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in show business, and like I say it on TV that way, and now I have like new TV coworkers who say it that way, and my family thinks it's so funny. But my kids say it the Italian way.
They do.
Yeah.
That's their last name.
So I'm
now.
changing the generational pronunciation.
Right. It's so funny how it went from like so ethnic to like Americanizing everything
Yeah.
to now it's like, no, we're ethnic.
You stick out like a sore thumb, though, on the ethnic side. Like, you can't not be New York Italian, I don't think.
Yeah, I think no matter what I'm talking about, you're going to hear it.
Yeah.
I was, in fact, Colin Quinn, a comic, when I was talking to him about it, I go, Mike, am I going to be pigeonholed? Am I going to? And he's like, no matter what you say, people are going to hear New York Italian. He's like, but that you're still a mainstream comic. It's okay. And he said something that was brilliant to me. He said, the more specific you are, the more universal you'll be.
Right.
And I was like,
I think about that a lot, too, because to me, some of the best talents like you, it's the voice. It stands out. You go, that voice is so unique and funny.
That's one way to put it. So, I mean, it's like nails on a chalkboard. When I listen to this podcast, I'm going to be like,
oh, really?
But yeah, I don't like, here's my thing. I think, too, there's like a lot of, I don't want to talk smack, but or throw shade, but there's like a lot of these like New York Italian influencers on social media that, really over accentuate and play into it. And then it's like, I don't want to get like looped into like, oh, she's one of those. No, I'm a comic, I'm a writer, I'm an actress, I'm a producer. Like, it's like, I know I'm not an influencer. Like, please don't use that word, so, but a lot of them sound like this or worse.
I know exactly who you're talking about. We are in a similar circle on our social media. But you are you. The difference is you're not. It's not an act. You're sitting on the couch. We just talked before we filmed. You sounded the same way. It's not like you walk in. You're like, "Hello, Paul. Let's do the podcast." And then you sit down. You're like, "So the fuck."
And I'm like, "So this coffee is really good." You know what I'm saying? And I even try to I feel like I'm trying to sound less
Are you?
Yeah, I try.
Don't do that.
I know. I shouldn't. You're right.
You know, I think that's what makes you great is the way you sound. And your sets, your comedy is so funny, but I think your voicing and your natural voicing of how you grew up and how you sound is part of the gift.
It is, and it's also when you're on stage, you shouldn't be thinking about how you sound. You should be so in that moment and so yourself and so authentic that.
You're authentic. It's funny because I don't sound super ginzo, but one time I did a show drunk because I was hosting all night, and I literally just did like a poor man's Sebastian Maniscalco the whole night. I was like, hey, you guys, I can't even do them well, but I just got very Italian, maybe because I was like buzzing.
When you're with other Italians or people from the East Coast, does it come out more? Your accent?
100%.
Yeah, I know.
Always.
Like sometimes if I see like friends from the Bronx or whatever, and I'm like with them for a while, I feel like I'm more Bronx Italian.
Yeah. Well, it's a twang. It's like anybody's home. You come out in the Midwest, everybody's the same. It's a twang, right? Mm-hmm. Where did you grow up in the Bronx?
Pelham Parkway.
And so your whole life you were there?
Yeah, Pelham Parkway, Morris Park. It was like very Arthur Avenue is where my family originated. Like Belmont Avenue is where my family came from, and it was very New York Italian area.
That is the quintessential New York Italian, I feel like, especially back in the day.
I talk about it all the time. I even talk about it on stage, like the parking meters in my neighborhood were painted green, white, and red. Like we were in our own bubble.
Totally. Is it still like that now?
I think it's like, we had like an influx. It was very like Albanian and Italian. Like then we were like, which was almost like the same thing, like just so ethnic and same values and things like that. And I think it's like, changed a little bit in certain areas. But yeah, there's still Italian and proud Bronxites that are not leaving the neighborhood.
Totally.
My mother was one of them, so my father's not leaving, it's just.
It's home.
Yeah, it's home.
Well, my grandparents came over from Napoli. That's where they went. They were in the Bronx too. I got to get the address for you.
Yes, I got to see it.
That's where they moved from.
Yeah,
Italy.
my mother's mother was from there, Salerno, and
where's your dad from?
They went to Sicily.
Nice.
Yeah.
Testa dura.
Yeah, Forza de Gro. Yeah. So.
That's what I say because my wife's Calabrese, so we would say we have very hard heads.
Hard head. Yeah.
Now, is your husband Italian?
Yes, his family's all from Naples.
Okay, nice. So
yeah,
same mix
and
of
Concerto.
all these Southern Italians. I don't know how to argue quiet.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm like, when I'm talking, people are like, why are you yelling?
Yeah. I feel like also we could be very hot and like it's a real stereotype that's like I'm working on it, but I can get so hot and then I can simmer. I could get cold. I used to stay hot for a while. You like that?
I think things change with age, but I can get like crazy. I think I'm scarier when I'm silent. If that's.
Well, I think that's for any woman.
Yeah.
If I don't get any talk, I'm in trouble for sure.
Yeah. If I'm quiet, there's a problem.
Yeah. I guess it's the same for me. I can go. The silent thing's a real weapon in a marriage, right?
What?
Silent treatment in a marriage.
Oh yeah.
It's a real weapon.
It cuts. It cuts.
It cuts deep.
It cuts.
How long have you been married?
A year and a half.
Oh, so just.
It was supposed to be 2020. My wedding was in 2020, but in New York City, my guests would have had more freedom in prison than they would have at my reception. Everything, you were there. You came here.
Yeah.
So we didn't. Nothing happened. So we were 2 years delayed.
So you still had the big party after the pandemic?
It was. No? What it is? We had the deposits put in, and it was like, had I not been like attached to it financially, I wouldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. But I'm happy that we have, the party that I planned. I guess
that's great.
Yeah, it was a real tribute to our upbringing. I did everything in the Bronx. The vendors had to be from the Bronx or Italian. Like
amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You need to work with do you work with the borough? Like you should be Miss Bronx or whatever. Is there a thing?
They wanted to honor me this year during the month of October for the Italian American.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I was not in town. So I was on the road, but
all right.
Hopefully they remember me next year.
You're like, sorry guys, I'm representing you across the country.
Yeah, come on guys, come on.
I'm already doing the work.
Next time don't ask me 2 weeks before. Maybe I was not your first choice. So.
Oh wow, you got Joe Coyd for that role. You got like the
oh my god.
I mean for him getting the gig, not for his jokes.
I know.
No disrespect to other comics.
No.
But I think he was lower on the list for that job.
Yeah, and also like who wants that job?
I know.
Like I didn't see it live, and when I saw the video, it looked fine. The video I saw, the cut I saw from CBS, but woof.
When you do stand up,
it must have not been that live. Yeah,
I know, but you relate to other stand-ups more than anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's funny when there's like news coming out about jokes because like we do it all the time, so it's just it's a different purview on all of it, isn't it?
It's such a it's so funny how I like look at somebody like people like who's this no name guy? I'm like no name guy that sells out 10 to 15,000 seat arenas. Like also it's jokes, which is over the last few years has become a real issue.
Have you found that with your flavor that it's changed a little? Because your material, I feel like you're just smart and funny. Like there's not like you're biting because of your personality, but it's not like you don't push it, I don't think.
Thank you. But I think I do cross lines.
Well, hell yeah, you should.
But I think the funnier you have to be when you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't start out that way. I really try to own the crowd and, have them like me before I start. And I'll say things like, listen, guys, I don't think comedy should be censored. I say to, which even in New York and LA gets an applause, which is really refreshing.
It's coming
because
around.
those are the places you would think what I think people are kind of tired of it.
Totally.
And I think because people like Joe Coy or Kevin Hart and Chappelle have been subjects of, cancel culture, that it's kind of like everybody's kind of a little over it at that point when it comes to, comedy is art.
Yeah.
No matter which way you look at it, no matter what the subject is, if you're doing it right and you're a professional doing it, it shouldn't be that you have to fear your employment.
Right, exactly.
Because you're gonna, take a chance. Miss Pat said it best. She was like this, like she made a reference to, I think it was Archie Bunker.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the joke. Like his ignorance was the comedy.
Right,
like, like
yeah, also, how are we going to poke fun at things that are actually real in the world? We're supposed to be a mirror in many ways, and there's some messed up things out there, but I think it's I'm not trying to be self-righteous. I'm not at this level of writing my jokes, but it's a service in a way to be able to poke fun, and we're the ones who should be. I don't want to say allowed, but you know what I mean. Society needs to laugh, especially now.
Our job is to see things, observe things, live through things, and joke about things.
Yeah, that's what has been the most fun for me doing stand-up the past few years. I feel like I'm more honest in my life because like you just look at everything honestly now, and you're like, what's funny? It makes life feel like a little bit less scary sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, hey, we're all going through the same thing.
Yeah. And then but we get to shout it at people. That's what's fun. And they're like, oh, yeah, I feel the same way. And
that feels good for them.
Yeah.
When people say things, when a comic resonates with me, I go, oh, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
It could be anything. It's a sense of like community, a shared experience.
Yeah. Now, you've been doing this a while. You've been on the road. You're a headliner. What's it been like this journey? I know this trip to LA, you've been doing some cool shows, but
yeah.
I think we're in our heads. I guess this is in my mind the start of the year so far. Like we get very. It's a job where you're constantly questioning yourself and your.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm. This is popping in my head with you, but this has been my sort of inner monologue lately of like, who am I? What am I doing? Am I funny? Should I pack it up and go get a 9 to 5? I don't. Yeah. This is therapy now, by the way.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
But how do you maintain? I guess my question is, how do you maintain kind of the oomph to continue growing in the field? Because I see you growing. You're growing every year.
I'm trying. Yeah.
But this job is like, it's like a slow and steady wins a race, and you could very much get in your head and be like, I don't know, especially money wise too. You're like, what am I making this month? It's a month to month sometimes.
Yes.
So I want to know, my question is, how you dealing with all that, Tara?
It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps. It really is. It's the only career where it's like one night you're like doing a sold out show, or in LA with like, Sebastian Maniscalco, or this Howie Mandel's on the show. And then the next night you're like, oh, I'm in a basement in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's at my level. I'm not saying that, there's obviously people way more successful that don't have to do that anymore, but it's hard. There's always that. I mean, imposter syndrome is almost like the term where it's like, am I really doing this? Am I really who I say I am? And there's always doubt. For me, there's always, and maybe for a lot of comics, they think artists are very critical of their work and their path. But I always kind of like, what am I doing? Like, is this what I'm really going to do? Is this what? Well, then what next? Well, after this hour, then what do I do? Do I write another hour? And I'm never in the moment of where I am. Where if I just stopped for a second and was like 10 years ago or 11 years ago when I stepped on stage, I would have never. This is all I dreamed about, was being at this level,
Right.
where I can pay my bills with comedy,
Right.
or like. But now but you're never like, oh, I'm happy I'm here. It's like, well, now I got to get to here.
It's a never enough thinking in a way.
It's just and it's because it's also because it's not secure.
Yeah.
I don't feel secure in anything yet. Like something great happens, and okay, well, now what?
I know.
It's and it shouldn't be that way. And I'm trying to be better about that and try to just enjoy like the moment or what's happening.
Yeah. I think the industry makes you quite like it is secure the way it can go for you and us, and it will go, I think. I'm putting in the universe is like you get a call. Sorry. Oh, hey. You get a call.
You just said you got a call and the phone rang. I'm putting it into the universe.
Hell? Wait,
See
actually?
who's calling. See who's calling, because maybe it's
Oh
for
my
me.
God, Netflix? She's right here.
Oh my God.
Imagine. That was crazy. That's what I was going to say. That was really
Do you
weird.
happen to have Tara Cannistraci in your studio? Well, would you look at this?
What the hell? And can I just do like the intro for you on the Netflix special?
Absolutely.
But wait, what's weird is I usually have to do not disturb on. I forgot to put it on, so it was meant to be for that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was weird. That's the higher. There's a spirit in the room. I think
That's a great clip.
Yeah, we're clipping.
We're clipping.
That's all this is going to be anyway. I don't even. I just do clips and I never even air the whole thing. No, I'm kidding. I've done that before though.
Yeah, you just took clip.
But with comics, just to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
bits. But that's what's confusing for me financially, and I'm not good with money, and it's a problem. But like the goal, if you work towards a goal, you do get a crazy check.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get a sitcom back in the day. You get a special, and then you have great security. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, wow. But then again, I do know because I've talked to everybody. You go, all right, I got this one check from this big thing. What's next? What am I going to do? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
never, in a way, life is never secure. We got to zoom out, maybe.
Right. And you have to also understand there's like a balance and a yin and yang to it. One week could pay for my month, and then
Yeah.
the next 3 weeks may not be so great, but at least I had that 1 week, and that's what this is. And to be in a place where I'm secure enough to know that the next gig is going to happen, and to see my calendar booked ahead of time now helps me go, okay, I don't have to worry about that, because you can't really be funny. Like when new comics reach out to me and go, when should I quit my job or this? I'm like, if you got to worry about paying rent or
Yeah.
what you're eating, you're not going to be funny. Like,
Yeah.
starving artist isn't for me.
No.
You know, I had to work a day job. I had to work on, to do my night job.
Yeah.
And until you can get yourself in a place where you go, okay, I can pay my bills for the next 6 months, then go hard and
Right.
go full time.
Yeah.
But before that,
That's a good thing to remember.
you got to hustle. This
Yeah.
is the only business. I wish there was like a university we can go to that's like, all right, if I take these courses and then I
Yeah.
can be a stand-up comic and then I'll get these jobs. That's not what this is.
Yeah.
It's like you got to invest in yourself.
What I love though is every road is different, and they all lead to different things. And the way the world's changing, like it is interesting. The roads are always like there used to be kind of a roadmap. I've talked about it before, and now it is all different with getting on stage, social media, opportunities,
Right.
doing shows. Like it's just different. I don't know.
People had to wait to get a TV spot. Now you have the ability to take your phone in your hand and put something on a platform that
Yeah.
could be seen by more people than it would if it were on TV.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like you do have a lot of control.
Yeah,
It's just about quality control, what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
really want to put out there, what message you're sending, how seriously you want to be taken by putting out certain things. You
Yeah.
know, I could easily get more followers or certain if I just did some cheesy stuff or went really really niche. But I'm like, I can't.
I feel just like you about the Italian caricature stuff.
Yeah,
I know.
It's like I did, a few things that were nostalgic. I didn't really expect them to go anywhere, and now people are copying them and doing them, and I'm like, which is fine. It's just I don't want anybody to think that if they go see that person,
Yeah,
that's what they're getting when they see me.
yeah, exactly.
It's like I'm a stand-up. There's a very big difference
Totally.
between an influencer and a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Like,
That's why I want to get good at stand up myself. Is like I've done one job for so long. I'd like it all to work. Where people go, I like this. Let's go see him in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, it's actually stand up. It's not just like me hoping to be entertaining. Because
Mm-hmm.
the thing about stand up that you can't fake that I really respect is like it's the years, it's the reps, it's the working on the material. It's a cycle of work. Nobody sees it that way. But I guess on this show I'm kind of getting philosophical. Like I'm a student of it. So talking to you, I
So
love
am I.
hearing about how you've gotten to where you've gotten, because like we're all going there, but it's like it is working on yourself. It's
completely.
Yeah.
And you're always a student of it. It's
Yeah.
like in comedy, you got to be a lifelong learner. You know, and I will always get something from somebody else. Like, yes, I headline my own shows, but if I'm doing shows with a really big name and I'm opening, I'm not opening and then leaving.
Yeah.
I'm sitting back and watching and learning and seeing how they, not that I'm want a specific joke. I want to see how they handle the joke. I want to see how they handle a situation. Like, you got to learn from somebody who's doing it 20, 30 more years than you when they're on that stage.
Totally. And what I will say about LA, and the one thing I like about the comedy scene here, we we're talking about it before, is you get to be a peer with your idols here in a way where like you get on stage or you're in a night and you get to watch. And these guys who are doing arena tours or whatever else, they are working out. So when you see somebody who you idolize work out and not be perfect in a way, but kind of that's what's the best class in the world. You're like, oh, I'm see them formulating something, and then you see it on a special a year later, and you're like, oh,
right.
They kind of I see how they tweaked it.
Right. We just talked about it. I was on a show where I got to watch Sebastian do 2 sets, and I mean, he was really funny. I was like, if this is him working out, I'm going to go home and cry because
I know.
that's not me working out.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was good to see, and a learning experience, and so it's like that's what LA does for you.
It's cool.
I noticed that I get way more anxious if I'm not up. If I'm not, like, if I have a weekend of travel and then I really don't get up during the week, I'm already like,
you're like itchy, right?
I'm like, I have to get up. I have to get up. It's like,
I know. I'm now like that too, which is awesome. I love it because now you're like, you makes you better because it's like so second nature with your material, your blah blah blah. You're just like you're riding the bike, right?
You have to. It's like a muscle. You have to constantly work it out, and it's the only way I got good. I took every gig, Paul. I will tell you to take. Every gig. I was the say yes queen.
Yeah.
I said yes to Zoom during the pandemic. I said yes to park shows. I say yes to bars. I said yes to pop-up shows. I mean, opening gigs, things that petrified me. I opened for guys that have cult audiences that want their headliner, and you got to be the opening act, like, which makes you like, you've got to win these people over. They are not there for you, So I've hosted when I didn't want to host. I said yes to everything.
Totally, everything makes you better. Everything.
It really does. It really does. There's no fast track.
Yeah.
Like these people these influencers, like I only headline and they don't have an act, and you're like,
God, I know.
God,
I know.
You only headline. I don't only headline.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? I'm 11 years in, and I'm like, if I'm gonna get to open for Joey Diaz or Josh Wolf, I'm a feature act.
It does take time. I think the longevity of it is why I respect it so much and why I want to be good at it, because it's like you really have to pay your dues in the craft. Outside of politics and cliques of comedians and gigs, in the craft, you got to really work. I don't know if there's anybody who's like became massive over like a year of trying or something. Maybe like besides maybe Robin Williams, like the only person I could think of that like had a fast track maybe.
It's funny when I host the podcast and we were talking about like acting versus comedy. It's like comedy takes longer.
Yeah, definitely.
Comedy takes longer.
And I started late, and I'm like regretful, but whatever. I'm here.
See, I did that.
You did?
I was like, I'm too late. It's too late for me. I started late, and I beat myself up, and I go, I should have done it 10 years ago. I should have done it when
I say the same thing.
And then at that time, I said, you know what? 10 years from now, I'm going to say, I wish I started then. So just start.
Yeah.
And I just started.
That's great.
And it was good for me. I got that beginner's luck.
Yeah.
Where a few big names, said, okay, you can open for me on the road.
Nice.
But I was just like you. I remember I was watching Last Comic Standing, and I loved it. I used to get so excited for it to come on. And then the one season it came on, it was like making me uncomfortable to watch. And it's because I hadn't done stand-up yet.
This?
And I'm like, and that's also not me. Like, I usually love to see people like live out their dreams and try.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's changing my character. Like, I don't want to feel bitter towards other people doing anything.
Yeah.
So that was like, that's it. I got to just.
It's a calling.
I got to just start. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to come out here for work. Have you been to the Comedy Store this week, by the way, yet? Or no?
Yeah, last night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, you did it? You did the roast battle?
Yeah. I did the roast battle.
Nice.
I only did before. I just watched other people destroy each other.
And you just did a set?
I just did a set.
Oh, that's awesome. Nice. Oh, you could probably roast some people though, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
But it's like a whole nother form of writing at the Comedy Store, the roast battle. Like they are ruthless.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I love it. It's like Comedy Central roast style.
I love it too. I love
Yeah,
that form of comedy. Like Rickles is one of my favorite comedians ever. I
yeah,
love
me too.
roasting. But I used to do work trips for my hosting jobs back in the day to LA, and I would stay across the street from the Comedy Store. And that exact feeling you're describing.
That Best Western right there?
What's that?
That Best Western right there?
No, well, similar, right?
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
There's like a Mondrian or something. I was on the company dime, so I was like, give me the
Excuse us.
nice one.
Unlike the Best Western, you can see where I am in comedy.
Well, wait, this was back when I had a real job. So
Okay. All right,
now
okay.
I'm in the comedy. I'll be at the Western with you anytime. That's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So I used to stay across the street. I would work and do these interview things, and then I would go. So some free nights, I'd go to the Comedy Store and sit in the back, and I had the same feeling. And that was like a heyday of some big names now. That was like the Joe Rogan era, but it was like all those guys from Rogan. And I would watch all them and be like, I have to do this. Like, why am I sitting in the back? I'm like, I got to start. And then I think when I got back to New York shortly after that, I started back up again. Like I was like, I can't not do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I like
even
that.
when you said before, like, do you think like, oh, I shouldn't? What am I doing? I still don't stop. Of course, I have those doubts.
Yeah.
Of course, I play in my head like, what am I doing? What is this a career? Like, is this my job? But what am I? And there are so many more elements to being a stand-up comic than just getting up at night. If my only job was to get up on stage for an hour, that would be a breeze.
Yeah.
It's the writing, it's the listening to your sets, it's the social media, it's the networking. There's so much. It's a full-time job.
Totally. And when it's working and you're making money, it's so rewarding. I feel like I still can't believe sometimes like I'm at a very different level. I'm just starting to try and make it a job because I've had the hosting job. So I'm just now, and to me, I have the perspective like you're giving me money. I know it's a lot of work, but I mean like it still is crazy to me that we can do this and make a living.
Yeah.
If the more you get good at it, it's pretty remarkable.
And then you'll start having the mentality of like when people don't want to pay you or pay you what you deserve, you'll be like, you're not paying me for 45 minutes. You're paying me for the 11 years and 45 minutes. Like you want me because it took me 11 years to be as good as I'm going to be for those 45 minutes.
Yeah. Exactly. You're paying for the quality. You know what I mean? Which is why the influencer thing that we keep touching on is there's tension with the business because they're quick cash grabs. Everybody knows if you have 1 million followers, you can fill 2,000 seats. And that's the kind of tension with the business because there's so many producers that just do shows and want to fill seats,
More power to them. I'm not, if they want to, how they make a living is how they make a living. The stigma, and I specifically with Italian Americans, it's like, I don't want to be looped into that.
Yeah.
Influencer.
Yeah. Well, my point is though, I think
they
should call it something else. I think they shouldn't call those shows stand up.
Right.
It should be like influencer appearance show.
Yeah.
And then do whatever or variety comedy.
Right.
Because it's not to your point, it's not 11 years of working out jokes. It's getting famous for reacting to chicken cutlets. And I'm just saying, I'm just saying it's different.
100%.
It's different.
Or copying my words and phrases that I did online.
All right, here's what we're going to do because we know so many of the same people. You're just going to roast all them by name, right? No, okay.
We will. Behind the camera, I'm going to tell you some stories.
There's such a web of Italian-American social media people that I think are bigger than me, so I probably feel like I don't want to be the guy who's like, you have all these followers, but I relate and agree with everything you're saying. You know what I mean?
And I think it's just listen, if I think there's one in particular that came from me, like single white female style, and I'm just like, this is almost insane.
For you? Like rip you
I'll
off,
tell you behind.
I like this. See, I like the Italian drama we got here.
But it shouldn't be like. What makes me sad is I think a lot of other ethnic, especially now, people stick together and they're and I feel like there's so much like competition or that it's like, stop. Like I want to be. That's why coming out here was like.
You're on your own thing.
I'm just.
Yeah.
This separates me from that.
I relate completely to you. Like we're friends. There's enough room for everyone to win.
Oh yeah.
I also never been a clique guy, which I think has always been my struggle. Like I want to stay together with my people, but I'm not like gonna hopefully be in this like clique that will make me more famous on the internet. I'd rather get better at what I'm doing.
100%.
So that's always been weird to me too. This weird kind of like allegiance thing. At the end of the day, if you're an Italian comedian and you're doing great shows, people will know you for that.
Right.
Like that's what matters.
Those people can sell tickets, but are people going back to see them? Where's the longevity in that?
Well, that's what I mean for stand-up.
Right. So for us, it's like, oh my God, where's the longevity? Yeah, I'm a writer. The longevity will be there for me.
Totally.
It will take me longer, and it will be a different type of process, but I'll have longevity.
Yeah. The mediums are all converging too. Like, social media viral clips is its own form, which is cool, and we can all utilize it. Mm-hmm. It's not stand-up comedy. It's not a TV series. It's not a movie. It's all... I think the business kind of just sees the cash grab of numbers, and so they think it's all the same. Mm-hmm. Even it's weird though because it doesn't always track. You could have a YouTube star go star in a movie and it doesn't do well.
Yeah.
It's like the training. It's that you need to. It doesn't even make sense some of the time.
Right. It's you just have, but you have to work every angle and work like that's you have to work it. It's
totally.
not just an overnight.
Yeah, and you act as well, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you've always done acting. Or more comedy.
I started
first.
that more. Like I did like sketch comedy plays in the city, and then I was always wanted to do stand up at that time. And then finally, I opened up one of the shows with like the first 5 minutes I wrote or something like that, and that's what made me get the bug. Like, but then I didn't do it. It's like you do it and you go, okay, well, I just did it for the play.
Yeah, I know. I never wanted to be alone with my. Like the same jokes is why I said I wouldn't do it for so many years, and now every night I do a show, it's completely different. I have my material I'm working on,
right?
But it's always different.
Yeah.
So it's like it was in my head. And there's some comics get up there, do their routine, and they don't, But I think you're similar. You we have fun and we play with the night.
Yeah. The other night I had 2 shows at the Ice House. One, I did my whole set, did a touch of crowd work, just a little bit here and there, and then the other one, you realize the energy was different in the room, the crowd was smaller, and you kind of had to just talk to them and just do crowd work. Like.
I love the way you talk to the crowd, though. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Did it feel fun in a California setting with your style versus New York?
Yes.
Different?
I think it felt different in my own head because I knew I was in California and I knew that there were people watching me, and I knew it was my first time at a club. So you want to be like, you want to go in with like the hit list, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to do the greatest hits, like you're Billy Joel, right? I got to do this song, this song, this song. It's like I'm going to do this joke, this joke, this joke. But you got to kind of abandon that. It's not about you and what you.
Right.
It's about the audience, and it's like these people need to be. First of all, my first set at the Ice House, it was the order changed, and it was like, all right, the order's going to change. It's going to now be Howie Mandel, Sebastian Maniscalco, Tara Cannistraci. And I was like, oh, yeah, the exact order I wanted for my first time at the Ice House. Like, that's exactly the 2 people I wanted to follow. So they just saw celebrity, and funny. Like,
Yeah.
Here I am. I have to get they don't know me. They just knew the last.
Right,
2.
exactly.
They didn't, nobody knows them personally, but you know those people.
Yeah.
Well, now you got to know me.
Yeah.
So the only way to kind of do that was to get to know them. And
Got
that
it.
was like, I did a joke just because Sebastian brought me up on Italian Guys, just because I wanted to relate to something.
Smart.
Which I really should have just done a thank you to him, his 1-minute intro of my name.
That's all right.
So thank you, Sebastian. I watched the tape and was like, how did I miss
You
this?
were just like,
I was so in my
I get
head,
it.
which happens 11 years in. I'm still gonna have that.
Well, no, you're thinking
not
it's
in
like,
my stomach.
It's like
and
showing up to a game though that you're trained for. You're ready to win.
Right.
So you were thinking,
Yeah, I was thinking
smart.
in a completely different way.
Yeah.
But I did that joke, and then I, went to go to do my other jokes, and then kind of a joke and a half in was like just starting to talk to people, like,
Nice.
and then that was just like the biggest laughs I got.
Nice.
And then ended with a joke just to give them something.
Totally.
And they couldn't have been more gracious. The other comics couldn't have been nicer. The sound guys couldn't have been nicer. Everybody, the audience couldn't be nicer.
Yeah.
They were so receptive, so welcoming after the show. It was just one of those experiences where you're like, thank God I had the experience enough to know that I couldn't do my set on this. And then I went into another, they have 2 stages there. I went to the next stage to do my set, and it was all my jokes. I got to do all my jokes then at the Ice House because that crowd was different kind of energy. It was sold out. It was just a different.
That's a decade plus of experience though, where like you're just perceiving the moment and adapting. And I think that's what's exciting about this too. Like, in your own head, it's like a groove, you know where to go. And we're so perceptive the whole time. I actually was not being that way. And I told myself recently, like, you have to be with the room because I'm trying to work on my material. But if you're not perceptive, you won't have, like, you have to have a good night. You could be in a basement somewhere. You could be, You got to adapt. I need the change. I like the adapting. I like it's different. I'm like, oh, it's just, let me see. I actually had like a terrible night last night, and maybe I wasn't in the, I don't know what it was, but like the room, maybe it wasn't a good adaptation on my part. I don't know.
What did you feel?
It was a really young crowd, and I just like was scattered with my material and started talking about like parenthood and stuff, and it just was like, I was really late, and it was like a weird, I don't know, it was a weird night. I don't know why.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's like there's a formula to it all. Like as much as we have to own what we have to do and how we have to read a room, and they always say know your audience, there's also a reason why Colin Quinn had a show called Tough Crowd.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes it's the crowd. You know, sometimes it's the element, sometimes it's the room or the energy, or you know, like there are so many factors that play into us being successful.
Yeah, but we get to play with that,
right? And we have to learn how to adapt. I don't think a year ago, I would have been able to do what I did on that first show at the Ice House, because I don't know if I would have had the right experience, or I would have. You pull from every experience you have. That's why when in the beginning I used to want to like, how do I do it? How do I become a better comic? Like get up as much as you can. Oh well, that's easy enough to say. I can't get gigs. Well, you can get gigs. You just got to take the gigs that aren't real gigs yet, like pizzerias and what I did. I mean, everything under the sun. But it's the only way you're going to get better.
Totally. How much of your upbringing, because I think it's a part of it, I'm very self-righteous about being East Coast, being out here, but being perceptive and knowing like streets and how people are and the environment, it's so much a part of growing up in the Bronx, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I feel like that's such a part of making you funny because you understand people. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's like start with what you know in the beginning and how you grew up, listen, the Bronx made me tough. The Bronx, it really did help me. The Bronx is diverse. It made me adapt to different environments. And then, you know, it's a constant, there's something always constantly happening. It's not just small town vibes. There's always something that could be crazier. If you open your eyes enough to see it, you can be like the best observer in the world when you come from one of these boroughs in the city. You know, it's like.
That's what I love. That's the difference. We were talking about the difference before. Everyone's in kind of a bubble in LA, and you're in New York, in Jersey, parts of Jersey where I grew up. Everyone's around. I just I personally like that more.
Do you feel that you grew up in New Jersey?
Yeah.
Do you feel that your New Jersey upbringing has helped, like your New Jersey Italian is your perspective in comedy? Has it made you the observer you are? Or?
I think so. Yeah. I think just being part of that, from that part of the country where there's just people everywhere is so busy, and it's not like being from like the sticks or something. You know what I mean?
Is anybody in your family funny? Like you think? Yeah.
I think so. Everyone's pretty funny. I come from everyone's musicians, so we were all musical.
Okay.
And stuff.
So
from
artists.
the world.
No,
Yeah.
Artistic.
I started in music. I'm a drummer. I started playing music, and then I married a musician and did this stuff instead, and just do music for fun now, which I prefer.
Right.
You know?
But it's creative. It's
totally.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think how we grew up and like social. And I'm not saying the best comics are East Coast, but
You said something to me today because I was like, I walked in and I was like, Paul, I think I have to move to LA. Like, I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I have to come out here more. And then you said something like kind of profound that you said people say about New York versus LA.
What I say, the food and the bread
no,
and the people?
being where you get to become a better.
Oh, yeah. Look, you're teeing up what I said from this show. Like, I forgot. Oh my God. I said, people say you become a better comic in New York and then you get famous in LA. That's what they say. So you can come here and get more famous.
Right. I mean, that's what's going to take, guys. Just enough with the rain.
But that's how they used to say it for here. I do think it's, I hate saying that because people think Hollywood, they go fame and blah, blah, blah. But I do think it is true to like when you get better and better at comedy, especially like if you get in with these clubs and you're regular, I do think you get seen more, and there's probably more in the industry maybe here that you're seen. Like Netflix may see you here versus New York, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I feel like, and this is something I was talking to a confidant, trusted friend, talking about my shows here so far. And he's like, I think the big difference is that in New York, you have a lot of tourists, and that's who's in these audiences. Whereas in LA, it's a lot of industry.
Yeah. But the tourists make you better.
Oh, 100%. So you get better in New York.
Exactly. And you come here and you're like, what's up,
in LA.
industry? Yeah, because I do a
I
club.
think I'm just going to rent out this studio. It's good enough for me.
I mean, honestly, I could use it. And I get you a mattress right here on the coffee table.
Cool, I'm good.
As long as
I'm tiny. Look.
Yeah, you can have the little 2-seater. You're the first person to fit on that couch, actually, because everyone's like, "This is it, this little couch." I don't know. I don't know if it's. I guess for me, because I lived in New York for 10 years and didn't do stand up, it's my own regret. Because I'll tell you who told me.
I know.
I do Gotham sometimes in New York, and I know Chris there. I'm sure you know Chris, and he's the one. He's the owner of Gotham. And I said, I just moved to LA, but like I'm grateful, thanks for the spot. Like I do like the new talent night and just get up. And he was like, oh, you only get you got to get good in New York. He's like, you moved to LA? And I remember thinking that and being like, I left New York without ever having enough stand-up. I started there, but I could have had a decade of experience there. Instead, I had 2 years. So I think it's my own problem.
I think the path that you're going to... I regretted it too, but I kind of think I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't experienced enough to know how to resonate with an audience. I don't know what my jokes would have been like earlier on. I mean, obviously your writing style is your writing style, but maybe you had to come here and you can still pull from all those experiences.
You have everything,
yeah.
I want to tour like you. Like I think touring is a measurement for the material outside of both cities anyway. Like you work out in these cities, but I think touring with audiences, like there's a club in Burbank that you should get in. Flappers.
Yeah, I've done Flappers before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That feels like New York to me because it's tourist, because it's by Universal. So I've done a few shows there and I've been like, why do these feel so great? And I was like, oh, everyone's visiting LA and seeing a comedy show and they're from all over the country. So that makes me think about touring differently. Like, and similarly with some of the New York clubs, they felt that way too. So I think it all is subjective. Like you can get good, and I think the road helps you too. Like you've been on the road for a couple of years, right? How's that? I feel like it's probably shaped you a lot.
Because you're walking on stage as in sounding like a New York Italian, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, how am I going to relate to these people? We're all so similar. Like it's exactly like what the advice I got from veteran comics. Like the more specific you are, the more you know. It's like we can all relate to something, and being savvy enough to make the observations while you're on the road. Yeah. Like, what's different here? What can I pull from here?
Yeah, you can make jokes about the Bronx versus where you are.
Right. Or just even like right in the front audience. Like especially if it's a theater, it's hard to do so much crowd work. But I was in I think it was called the Maryland Theater in, where was I can't even pronounce. I forgot where I was in Maryland, like 2 weekends ago. And it was just one of those shows where I was like, I'm just doing crowd work in a theater. Like it was one of these really weird, and it just couldn't have gone better or been better. But it was like one of those things where you're like, that is not at all where I saw this going. Right. And I got off that stage and was like, I became a better comic tonight. I got off that stage and was like, I didn't record this set. Like which is, by the way, if you're a comic, all of your best sets, none of them will be recorded. I know,
you're right.
Every great set that I've ever had has not been on camera. So, or the sound doesn't work right, or you don't really hear the audience the way you should. And it's like, this joke killed, but you can't hear it. So it was just one of those things where I was like, I just got better tonight. 2 weeks ago, I was like, I became a better comic.
And how often are you on the road? Is it every weekend, or how busy are you?
When I get home, Thursday I have like 2 shows in the city. Friday I'm on the road, but I'm back Saturday for a theater in Westchester. Nice. And then the following weekend, just like Pennsylvania, I'm doing a really big theater in Staten Island.
Awesome.
And then I'm on the road all of March. Like it's like Florida.
That's great.
Here probably the first week.
Oh, good. Do you like the road? Do you like doing the road, or what?
I like it for different reasons. So I like it now because I get to like zone in and really like I'm not a wife on the road,
Nice.
I mean, I'm
out of state, out of mind. Am I right?
Right.
Hey.
No. I'm not. I am just focused on whatever I got to eat that day and whatever I got to write or edit. Or I get so much work done. I get like laser focused.
Oh, that's
but then
nice.
it's like I can't wait. Like when I was in the Maryland Theater, I Googled how long it would take to get home that night, and it was like 4.5 hours. And I was with another comic, and I was like, we're getting out early enough. Like I got home at 2 a.m. instead of sleeping in a hotel and waking up at 7 and then driving home. It's like once I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah, just to get done.
Get me home. Like if it's a 4-hour drive is almost feasible.
Yeah.
If you're on the road and you've been and then you of course you miss your family or you miss your house, you miss your bed.
Totally.
It's like I like being on the road, but then the minute that last show is done, it's like get me how quick can I get home? Tonight I have a show at the Bourbon Room at 7:00.
Hell yeah.
And then at 2:30 in the morning, my alarm is going to be set. I got to get the car back to the.
Oh, you're leaving tomorrow.
The car's got to get back to wherever I rented it from, and then I got to get a shuttle to the to the airport, and then 6 a.m.
You're out.
I am gone. I love LA. I'll be back LA, but I got to get home the minute I'm done.
Yeah. Wait a second. The minute you're done, I'm on the Late Show tonight.
Oh, where?
I'm giving you Italian guilt. I'm on the 9:30 at the Bourbon Room.
Are you? I'm staying.
I'm
No, I'm hanging the whole time.
You can't not stay.
I'm not going to not stay.
You could go
Are you
home if
on the
want.
Late Show?
I don't care. Huh?
You are on the Late Show?
Yeah. But I'm judging.
I'm totally staying. I'm hanging. I'm here for the. Can I stay?
Yeah.
I can be there for the hang. Yeah. Oh no, I'm not leaving tonight.
I'm also probably interviewing you later. I didn't even tell you. So
we're doing another podcast.
Did I tell you that?
No.
Did
Keita told me, yeah.
So yeah, we're doing this cool thing where I'll cross promote if it ever comes out. But we set up a podcast studio in the green room at this club, and I interview all the comics before or after they go on. And we only did it one other night, and it was fucking electric. It was awesome.
Yeah,
because it's like the scene. Anyway, so you'll see me all night tonight.
I'm excited.
But go home and sleep if you want. I don't care. I just want to give you some guilt.
I'm staying. 2:30 in the morning. If I have to stay there till 2:00, go home and pack my bag. That's fine. I just need that 6 a.m. flight.
You'll make it.
I need that first flight out.
I think I glorify the road because I haven't toured, but anybody I know, I think it's really cool to become a better comic and to be on the road, but it's a grind like anything else too, like you're saying.
And it could be depressing,
yeah.
Depending on where you are and what time of the year it is. I was on the road with Vic DiBattista.
Oh, nice! Yeah, I love him.
It made it so much better.
Yeah,
because he's. First of all, a gem off stage. He's a regular guy. We always were scared about where we're going to eat next.
Hell yeah.
We Google places to eat or see or things to do. And it's like, being in a hotel room in the middle of Greensburg, Pennsylvania in January may not be the, it's not like, woo, but if you're there with somebody else, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
I always said, if I got to go on the road the way some of these guys have to go on the road and I'm big enough, I'm bringing my opening act.
Totally.
Because in the beginning, I'd get so in my head that I'd want to be alone because I'd be working on my hour the whole time in the hotel room, so nervous. I don't have that as much anymore. It's I know what I'm bringing. I know this hour. I know what this hour is going to be tonight. Let me at least enjoy myself while I'm here.
That's a freedom, yeah. I think that's my dream about touring is going with friends. That's
100%.
the dream for me.
It's as much as we like our solitude and we need to recharge. When you're in Albany in January and, Greensburg, Pennsylvania, I said, and Hagerstown, Maryland. Love you guys. Great audiences. But I
have an idea for us in the future one day. If we're ever on the road together, we're going to start a little travel log of finding the best bread across the country. Something the best Italian.
Don't even put this on.
Please.
This is our own private thing right now. We're going to do this. Don't nobody steal this idea.
Because I would love that. Just that idea of because I do like traveling a lot too. I like people, but going with friends, especially Italians, and figuring out being because that's one thing that we really do take for granted. You go to the middle of this country and they had it's the worst. Our food is the worst.
We'll call it my cousin Paul, my cousin Vanny, and
hey.
Be how's your bagels? I'll be oh yeah, you blends.
Yeah.
We'll just go around and we'll try different food.
2 Utes.
Yeah.
2 Utes is the best line ever. Yeah. 2 Utes. I wish I could do impressions better. I know. Jay Moore, the comedian.
Yeah. Of course, he's incredible.
He does the best Joe Pesci I've ever heard.
He does so many. He's just so good. I actually got to work with him in Jersey.
Oh, nice.
And,
Jersey boy.
I worked with him twice actually, and I got asked to work with him again. I think I'm on the road.
Oh, nice.
He's going back to that venue, but he was another guy, and you're gonna need these people to kind of co-sign what you're doing.
Yes.
But he was one of those comics that in the green room looked at me and was like, "You're funny."
Nice.
And I was just looked at him, and I was like, "Well, I think because you're so young, I could have done this better." He's like, "Do you?" He's like, I know what I'm and I'm like, yeah, you're right. You do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's like, I know funny.
Yeah.
You're funny. And it was sometimes you just need those people that
totally.
you idolize, that you think are so good to to say, hey, you got this, stick with it.
Yeah.
He wasn't, it wasn't like, oh, you're a headline. He was just like, you're funny. Like,
keep going.
Keep going. Those little pops of people believing in you, if I didn't have that from comics, forget it. You need it. It's like some people have to believe in you before you believe in yourself in this business.
And it's nice when you have someone who's already successful at it. Be like, no, I see what you're doing. Keep going. I feel like you're pretty connected too with like success. A bunch of successful comedians, so that must be nice working with them and also having that kind of push throughout your career so far, right?
I've had the good fortune of getting to open for some people by chance. Nobody knew who I was that I was opening for them. And then recognizing or saying, hey, I can get you this gig, or would you want to do these weekends with me? They were West Coast guys, like who did it, and like Josh Wolf was one of those guys. I think I mentioned him already on the podcast. Like when I say he's a beast, he's so damn good, and I could watch him and learn every single night. He's one of those guys, and he not an Italian.
Right.
Not an all Italian audience. Looked at me and was like, "You're a mainstream feature act. A mainstream comic.
Nice.
It didn't call me a feature. You're a mainstream act." And I, gave me gigs.
Wow.
And I was just like,
that's cool.
It also makes you go, okay, so I'm not just this niche.
Right.
Things like that. You need things like that. You need people like that.
I know. I love that about this. Like the more I go, it's like our friends help each other and like
you find your people.
Yeah, and just the push of I don't know if it's approval, but like you're saying, the little push of like keep doing your thing. I do like when it's Jersey Italian or New York Italian is also nice, but it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, Vic for me was a New
Vic's
Jersey.
Hilarious. I've never seen
Brooklyn Italian.
I've never seen his stand up, but I loved his videos. I love all of his videos.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
He's giving you 150% every time he's on that stage. Like you're going to go by. He gives you so much of himself on that stage.
That's awesome.
And that was really good for me to learn because I'm like animated and I like physicality and watching him made me feel more confident in being that.
That's awesome. Yeah, we could take a little bit away from all of us as you watch.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, that's what I think I like.
Right. It's not that you're copying or you're emulating. You have to emulate somebody initially. Like there's somebody you have to look at and go, that's why I want to do it, or that's why I could do it. You're going to find your own voice. It's just going to take 10 years.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm on 5, so maybe I'm halfway there living on a prayer.
There. And listen, it could happen sooner. 5 years is a game changer.
It's
5
great.
years in comedy was a shift for me.
Totally. Well, it's that level of like you can get people, so you can play and just like take your time. Like I rushed for 5 years. I think,
yeah. 100%. I do it sometimes still. I'm like, slow down.
I know.
Sometimes I'm like, pause, because then you're not even giving people the chance to laugh.
I know. I did the Sunday night at a show, and the headliner, I was hosting, which is always a good workout. And I was excited, getting the energy up. It was a rainy night, and I got off, and the headliner was like, "Slow down." And I was like, "Was I rushing? Because I really am more conscious of it. Really? Maybe I'm just excited." And I was like in my head about his advice, and then he got up at the end of the night, and I've never seen a faster set. I was like, "You gave me this advice, you hypocrite!" I was like, "Why are you telling me how to?"
Because we all go through it. It's easier to say it and see it in somebody else,
and then be the Energizer Bunny and give me. I was like, I was giving him shit after. I was like, so we all.
Do you record all your sets?
Most of them. That one, I don't think I did, actually. I should have.
Even if it's not filming, you should always.
I know.
It's torture. Like I say, nails on a chalkboard to listen to your act. It kills me. It pains me. But every time I see it, I go, oh, I got to laugh there. Or I go, oh, I don't like the way I did that.
Yeah.
Or I said, too much. Or,
It's funny. People think we're such narcissists with this job, but I really can't stand watching myself once I do it.
That's such a good. Yeah, me neither.
It.
But you have
to.
But
it's part of carving what works.
You have
to. Like last night, even worse, last night I'm going to lose money buying the tape from last night of the set I didn't like. And then I'm going to be tortured to watch it. But I know I have to watch it.
You have to.
There's like jokes I have to cut. I know I got to get rid of tags.
I know.
It hasn't gotten a laugh 20 times. Why am I still saying it? That's what it is, though. It's editing, It's I got to hang out with Jay Leno once for it was a fluke with my NBC stuff. We hung out for a day, and I'll never forget. He said, it's an economy of words, and I'm sure you know this, but such good advice about just like editing. That's like hard to do I think part of being Italian and vocal, like I could speak for hours.
We're doing it right now.
Yeah, we are right now. I can't get laughs for hours unless I edit and work on it. You know, that's the difference between stand up and speaking, I guess, you know?
There's a formula to it, and then there's your own voice that's going to play into it and how you speak. I have found, and it's only this year, 11 years in, I have found that some of my biggest laughs come from my inner thoughts that I say out loud that aren't part of the joke. Like I would, like how I would speak to my friends, like there's and if I just do like this, I'll stab him in the neck, or if I just do like something that I would do like at a table with my friends, gets the laugh because people know that girl.
It's you.
People know I'm her. I'm your friend. I'm your mother. I'm your sister. Now, does that mean if you're funny with your friends, you could be a stand-up comic? No, but it does mean that the more you show you,
yes,
and step a little bit away from the joke, people laugh
totally
even more. And I learned that year 11, like, because I was always I could do crowd work fine. That's different. I could do my well-constructed joke. That's fine. But stepping away from that joke and just being me,
yourself.
Tara Cannistraci from the Bronx, the Italian wife or friend or, whatever. That's the funnier.
That's a great piece of advice for me to remember because you are it's almost like we do an impression of what we think should be funny when we do it. And then we like realize we could be ourselves and that's what works. And you get surprised that the audience is already you're so likable. The audience already wants to like you and laugh at you. That's what's hard to, I think, remember. Because I'm trying to do stories now. And what you just said happened to me. I was doing a story and I just said something that like about the story and it got the biggest laugh of the beginning of the story. And I was like, that wasn't even a punchline in my head. But that now I know it's a punchline. But like it was never intended to be. So people are like, it's like they're smarter than us in a way. Or they can see us better than we can.
Right. They just want the authentic. They want you. How do you feel with the telling stories? How is that going for you?
I think it's helping me be me more because I'm sick of my set. And I think when I'm more performative and coming from hosting, I'm used to kind of being this character that's like the guy from Hunger Games. What's his name from Hunger Games? He did the CNN Italian show.
Oh, I love him.
You ever see him as the announcer?
He's one of the best. I think he's one of the greatest actors.
Yeah. Have you ever seen him as the announcer in Hunger Games? He has dyed hair.
Yes.
So like I'm that guy in my job. I'm like the TV host.
Yes.
So I find my stand-up being like, I've really slowed down and tried. How I'm talking to you now, I'm trying to talk on stage now, which is 5 years in new for me. Because I will get up there and be like, hey, I'm a comic.
Right. You have the double. I had to just deal with not wanting to sound like a record with memorizing my material, but you actually have the host job on top of it. So you're like having a real battle.
Well, I'm trying to be more calm and like I think there's a lot of power. Like if you get on stage, you're like, I just want to tell you guys something crazy. Like that, I've never done that, but that also could happen. Like storytelling, I think is more of you can be more like get to those authentic moments you're talking about more.
So for me, I was so scared. I recorded an album 2 years ago now, maybe
Plug
longer.
It, by the way. We talked about it at the festival.
Yeah,
right?
it's called "I'm Talking Here."
Yeah.
It was it mirrors "I'm Walking Here" from Dustin Hoffman's Midnight Cowboy line. He played an Italian from the Bronx, but I recorded the album and then I sent it to a comic who to me is like the mecca of, and I said, I didn't want to send it to him. He said, send it to me, I'll watch it. And on the album, I did one joke at the end where I told a story that I had never told before because I was recording the album, the hour, and I said, I'm going to do every old joke, every new joke. I'm going to just tell stories, and then I'll cut it and put it the way I want it. So whatever doesn't work, but at least I will have tried it. And I sent him everything unedited. And his take back to me was like, oh, man, that last joke, that story. And I was like, that was my first time ever doing it on stage. He loved it.
Wow.
And I go, I was petrified of it for this reason. And he said it to me. He goes, you don't investigate enough in your comedy. Now, this is just 2 years ago. He said, your premises are great. Your setup is great. Your physicality is great. But then you just go, da-da-da-da, punchline, next, da-da-da, punchline, next. He's like, and it's great. You come out swinging, but you're not investigating enough of the jokes. Like, you could be going longer with them. He's like, but you're so scared of the silence. And I was like, yes, I am. Like, I'm not confident enough to be up there and telling a story.
Right.
And he's like, you have, and then it was, him and another comic, that I asked, and they were all giving me the same advice. Like, you are entertaining enough to tell a story and captivate people, and you will be rewarding them at the end, and you will get your laugh.
Right.
But you have to just stick with this. Like, you have to listen to the silence. And it's like, so I've now been doing that joke at the end of every set, even when I don't want to.
Nice.
And I'm like, and it's so true. So it's like, I do want to start telling more stories.
Good.
That's the only one I've really committed to doing.
Yeah.
And it's been 2 years, and I'm still like, okay, I got my one story. But it really...
How's it going in the sets? You feel comfortable with it now?
It's great. No? I think it's really good. I've gotten it to a good place. It's still sometimes I go, that was a little long-winded, or how can I change this or that? Because it's a story. It's not a typical joke. But I do want to start doing them more.
Totally. It's my main goal for this year, because I found, to your point, it's the authentic moments you're talking about where I think I could just be myself. I will sit in them more in stories than trying to be this guy who tells. I have my jokes, but then what's fun is you write these jokes into the stories, and you have these tags and all these fun things in the stories. People get to know you and your point of view through the stories, and it's longer. I don't know. I'm falling more in love with the form. And actually, the show you're going to see tonight is why I started doing it. It's a storyteller show.
So this is a storytelling show I'm watching tonight?
Tonight is called Basshole, and you just tell your biggest asshole story.
Oh, I love that.
You should be on it. You would kill it.
That's so great.
And I told a 5-minute story and won a couple months ago. And then because I told the story, that's the one of the judges said, could you do a set first?
Oh.
And he actually said in front of the whole crowd, he's like, I really liked your set. You were funny, but I think you were funnier and more real, and I liked you better in your story. And I was like, no way, it was an asshole story. But it opened my eyes to this idea. It's like, wait a second, maybe all my material will feel that way one day. Do you know what I mean? So that's
the fact that you're doing it now, this 5 years, that's so good.
I'm trying. Well, you work through the silences because we can take them on a ride, And it's like you could take an audience on a ride, and it's fun for them. And on the road, I want to have an hour one day. I'm not going to get to an hour. I'm not the type of comic that could just do set up punch for an hour. I already am telling stories. So it's like, in a way, I'm being lazy.
Set up punch for an hour, but now I do crowd work. Now I'll go an hour and 15, but it'll be crowd work. It'll be a story. It'll be.
Well, you're a better comic because you can write good jokes for that long. I don't have that. I wish I could.
You will.
I wish I could.
No,
the joke
you can't.
Thing is,
you think you. So how much time do you have now? Just jokes. Tell me how much time jokes wise.
I've done 25.
Okay. When did you ever think when you started and wrote your first 5 that you could do 25?
I don't know. But
so then when are you going to think that you can do an hour?
I know.
You will.
I just need to say yes to like an opportunity that's that long, because then I'll force myself. Maybe, I don't know. I'm getting there.
You'll just get you'll figure out, like I would go, okay, well, these jokes are retired. Now I got to do these jokes. But then you find a way to incorporate the jokes that were once retired into the current state of your comedy. And it's like, okay, no. There's my 30 minutes. Then I had this joke, and now I just wrote this new one. Well, this can relate to this. There's my 42 minutes.
It's a web.
Don't throw anything out.
No, I don't.
And the thing is, it's like, you're tired of your material. I heard you say that. And just to touch upon that, because I had this joke that I was like, I'm done doing this joke. And like other comics would be like, that is your TV joke. That is your joke that's good. And I'm like, I'm over this joke.
Right.
Let me tell you, I had to find a way to rework it and restructure it and keep doing it, because it is the only joke that doesn't fail. And it's
you gotta
like,
keep it.
I have to remember, I'm like, oh, but people know it. Some people come to shows and bring their friends. If I don't do a specific joke, they'll be like, you didn't do this joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wanted my friend to hear you do that joke. Some people want the greatest hits.
Yeah.
You got to have new material too, but I got to remember, I am not too big. It doesn't make a difference how many followers you have, how many people you perform in front of. That joke is new to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's got to be new for you. Find a way to make any joke that you really did well that you don't want to do anymore. Find a way to redo it, Paul, because the audience deserves it.
Exactly. And the bigger you get, you can go tour. People will come, like, so I know Sebastian, like, there's jokes that they just have to do. People want to hear. It's like music.
Yeah.
So that's the coolest
You go
thing.
see Billy Joel at the Garden, you want to hear.
Exactly. So that's the ultimate level. People know your songs. You're like, all right, great. Because it is a weird thing too. I always think people like throwaway hours. You never know. Like, I think if you're entertaining, I don't have any judgment on like the comedy rules. Honestly, I'm like, if it's entertaining people, I guess if you put it out on a platform maybe, but still it's hard, you know.
I did the radio, and somebody heard me on the radio, came to a show and was like, "You didn't do this joke that was on the radio." I'm sorry, I don't do that joke anymore. They're like, "Well, if I come back, I'm coming back to see you in Pennsylvania, March 2nd. Can you do that joke?" And I'm like, "Are you phoning in?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do the joke." Like,
Request.
Okay, you got a request, right?
Request.
I'm like, "I'll do the joke."
That's funny. You guys, maybe
So
you'll
funny.
say that it was a requested, like you're taking requests
Oh
now.
yeah. Oh yeah, great. I want to be there for the audience, but let's not make them call all the shots.
Before I let you go, I am curious because you're Mrs. Bronx, and you host the show with Chaz Palminteri.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow up knowing him? Because to me, the Bronx Tale is like, I don't want to say the Bible for someone from the Bronx,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like the Mecca of Bronx.
Oh yeah, if it wasn't for Moonstruck or a Bronx Tale,
Moonstruck.
I don't think I would have ever had the idea that I could be anything that I am.
Yeah.
I think Moonstruck and a Bronx Tale represented for me people that looked and sounded like me and my family on a big screen, and then made me go, "That's possible." So, and especially because it was the Bronx with Chaz, that it was like, oh my God, like it's the Bronx, like
Yeah.
it was
Such a love letter to the Bronx,
yeah.
those movies.
And
yeah.
and I didn't know him at the time of the movie. We joked on the podcast. I was like, I was 13. He's like, you were 13 when it came out. I think maybe I'd met him. He'd come to the neighborhood once,
Sure.
To meet with local kids or whatever. He was his best friend lived 6 blocks from me. And then fast forward to 2016, 17. I'm doing comedy now 3 or 4 years, and I got an email that said Chaz Palminteri is going to come see you perform.
Nice.
And I was like, what? And it was from this gem of a human being named Phil Folia, who was Chaz's nearest and dearest confidant friend. He saw me on some social media platforms, saw me with Danny Aiello, and was like, this kid, because to him this kid is Italian from the Bronx, and we should go see her, and you should go see her, Chaz. And kept putting my name in Chaz's ear. I did not know this. It was just me doing me, and somebody recognizing. You never know who's watching or who's looking.
That's cool.
And so then I'll never forget, he was like supposed to come see me in March or something, and then I got an email that said, "Oh, he's in California filming. What's your April schedule?" And I was like, this is never happening, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, here's my April schedule. And then Good Friday in Yonkers,
Of course.
in a strip mall, there was Sonny
Wow.
at my show, and I was just like, oh my God. And so I performed, and he met with me after and said, "You have great stage presence, and what are you looking to do with this?" And I said, "This is it. This is the end goal. Like, I want it. Comedy is the platform that I think is going to get me everything else." And then a few weeks later, he had found a charity, and I trying to think, how can I, get an opportunity from this? I said, let me produce a comedy show for your charity.
Oh, cool.
And so then we did the first one, and it went really, really well. And he said, all right, let's do it again. And that took about another year to get to that second show. And when I had gotten off stage, and it was probably the best I had ever felt. It was 300 people sold out.
Nice.
It was probably the best I'd ever felt on stage up until that point in my career, which wasn't even a career so much then. And he got off stage, and he was like, he pulled me off stage. He was like, tears in his eyes. He was like, whatever you have done in this last year and a half to work to get to be that good, I am so proud of you. Like,
wow.
And that was just a moment where he was like, you didn't take for granted, how much better that you had somebody endorsing you, or that you had this opportunity. You like, I'm going to get so much better for that moment, that it was like a real respect for like the craft.
Nice.
And then it just happened organically that that was really the start of like, and his wife Gianna is like my sister. Like it was just one of those unforced, like just a natural, easy friendship between him, her, and I. And at Thanksgiving with them this year, like it was just, we're just close. It wasn't
family,
anything. Yeah. It just was a natural thing. And then when he started the podcast, he brought me on as a guest. And then
Nice.
he had brought Catherine Narducci on as a guest.
I love her, yeah.
And And then like a few months into it, he's like, you know what? Let's do some episodes where it's the three of us, or I have this idea. Let's just try it. And people really loved it because you get to see three people, three different artists, three different New York Italians.
Sure.
Unfiltered. It's like being in a room with friends. You get to see the behind the scenes conversation between the three of us. And it really just worked really nice.
That's awesome. I love that it's, I asked because the movie is such a, like, to go from seeing them on the big screen to then having such a real relationship is so special in our business. He's a real one to you.
Yeah, and it's like I almost sometimes I don't, not that I don't acknowledge it, I don't recognize it, but after a while you're friends with somebody, you see the friends.
Of course.
You know, and it's like, and then I go, you know what? This is amazing. This is, this is everything I wanted as a 13-year-old girl.
Totally.
And I shouldn't not take it for granted. Because I don't, but it's like one of those moments where it's like you have to step back and go, wow, look at how full circle my life has come. And look, when you're like, oh, I should have gotten this gig, or I didn't do this right, or it's like, look at where I am right now. I am guilty of it too. We're not appreciating where I've come or how far I've come, or because we're our own worst critics.
Totally. And things get normal. Like, I try to always remember the kid in me. This is a good thing to remember. Like, doing my buddy had this on his phone for a while, and I always remember it's like everything I'm doing right now I dreamt of doing as a kid, and that is still true for me, right? Even right now, hanging with you in a studio, we're all doing fun, cool things. Exactly. And it's hard to keep that gratitude perspective when we always want to exceed it. But I'm here to remind you, like, from a Bronx Tale to being, with the guy all the time. I think that's a really special thing for where you're from, and that you're now like the new generation in a way. Not that he's old, but he's older.
Right, he's
where you're kind of, he's almost like passing, in a way I see it as like, torch. All right, I did a lot for the Bronx, and you're going to do a lot for the Bronx too, and you are.
And I am, and I do.
That's what it is.
I champion my borough.
I love it. I know. I see that passing. Maybe you're going to go right and do like your Bronx Tale. You're going to do a movie after this.
I mean, listen, there are things, there are ideas that I have and things I want to bring to fruition, right? You need the platform. For me, it's every opportunity I think I'm going to get is going to come from the stage. That's just my opinion of it. Because there's only so many things you could be good at and so many things you can do at once. But I do, I'm really grateful for everything and for you, dude. Like you got me. And this is like the power of social media, right? You hit me up in a DM.
I did.
You slid in my DMs.
By the way, for the record, the first woman I really slid into her DMs is my now wife. So this was professional.
Oh, okay.
I slide into only comedian DMs to work together. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. But yeah, because I think Nikki Paris recommended you.
Oh, so I love Nick. He's so funny. And that was like my first show with Nikki.
He did great.
We've always been like passing ships and like he was a killer.
Yeah, that whole night. You guys, by the way, I've talked about it a bunch, but you killed my New York Comedy Festival show. It was such a fun night. Fun. I do want to tour that eventually.
It was so well done. It was so well done with the.
Thank you for saying that.
I don't want to give up any of it, but like the entrance into things and the filming of things and the incorporating different things. At first, I was like, he was like, and then we're gonna have this, and then we're gonna do this, and then there's gonna be this act, and I was like, how is this gonna play out? And people had a real experience.
Yeah.
You gave people an experience.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate saying that because speaking on the theme of getting in our heads, like there's 1,000 things I want to do differently. I'm not satisfied with how I want it tighter, better, but I have so many different, but it's a dream of mine to do it. So like, it was very cool how the universe provided everyone who should have done that first one because forever I dreamt of it. You're a new friend, but like when I saw you, I was like, she is perfect. I want to do more. Like it was just exactly how it was supposed to be for that night. And it is a celebration of where we come from in a way.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think it's, speaking of like passing batons, I want to be an entertainer like you that kind of has that old school feel, but is also new. I think that's what's happening with that.
It's about celebrating who we are, where we come from, whether you've evolved, whether, there's something to be said about, representing.
Yeah, in an authentic way too. Like we feel similarly about who we were trashing before because I speak Italian. I live there. Like I'm not talking to you like I never went to school. Like somebody,
the double negatives, like, and I'm like, ugh.
It's just so weird. I don't know.
The F.
Do you know what I do sometimes? Because I'm such a snob. Sometimes, like I'll meet like a really hardcore like New York Italian or some caricature, and I'll just start talking Italian. And I'm like, how hardcore are you? Sì, dimmi va bene, facciamo così. Dimmi qualcosa. And they're like, oh no, I don't speak. I'm like, you're a fake. Stop representing us. You don't even speak la lingua.
It's like one thing. Listen, if you want to be Italian American, New York Italian, like I did these things where I was like, oh, I got really nostalgic. My friend's brother was very, very sick, and he was in Calvary Hospital, which is, the final stages of somebody's life. And I called her, and she said, oh, honey, he's like a skinny Belink. And I was like, that is such a New York. I go, I don't know if anybody knows that. And I took my phone, and I put the phone to my face. And I just got nostalgic. I said, these are words and phrases I remember growing up in my New York Italian neighborhood. And they are very Americanized. They are like the C's or G's. We cut off the vowels. Yeah. And but I wasn't doing it in this like gabagool. Like I wasn't like doing that. I was just like, a mapina or whatever. And I was just saying words, the school of Boston. I was saying words that I remembered, bachagalup, or words that we would just use, mamarel. And I put the phone down. It was just like a moment I had of like being nostalgic. And I had no followers at the time. Put my phone down. An hour later, my husband came home. And he was like, I go, did you see that video I posted? He goes, yeah. I go, was it stupid? And he goes, yeah. And I go, oh, let me take it down. I got a moment of like being sentimental. I went to grab my phone. It had like 300,000 views. Wow. And I was like looking at it, and it was like 1,000 followers. And I was like, what's happening right now? So I go, I'm not going to take it down. And then I go, oh, God, I have to do another one of these. Yeah. And I cringed because I was like, this isn't even comedy. I didn't want to do it for this purpose. I just did it because I had a moment. And I did another video, and then that one went crazy.
That's great.
And I was like, but I didn't get it because I was like, it's not comedy. Why is this working? I had put so much love and time and attention into these clips that go nowhere. I know. And all of a sudden, I'm like, chooch, and people are like, yeah! I'm like, no, that is the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. Yeah. But then I started to get messages of people like this woman sent me a message. She said, hi, my mother is 90 years old and has dementia, and I'm her caretaker, and I've tried everything. I've tried music, from her time and old movies, and for some reason when we play your videos, her face lights up and she says the words, and I was just like,
that's beautiful.
I will do these videos forever. But then I just realized it was just a connection that people felt to me. And they were coming to shows to see me.
That's great.
Not knowing what they were going to see. Like some people go, we didn't know if you're just going to do the words on stage. And I was like, you wanted just to hear the words on stage?
They would have liked it.
And it's like, it's my childhood. It's my parents who are no longer here. Yeah. It is this. And so it was that very like Italian-American, not Italian language that I was doing. So I was an opportunist with it and took, did things with it. But now I have these people that imitate it.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh my God, with the band accents and the ugly, Alf. And it's like, oh no, I did this by chance. And like,
I think for us as comics, you're doing authentic stuff that's true to you. And also for social media, it fits there versus the stage. Just keep doing your thing and stop worrying about all the other stunads.
That's it.
All the
See?
stunads
That's
out, all the other. Dude, we had you're all false up, which I think was just my family growing up. That my grandfather couldn't say like you're all messed up in English, so we grew up with this weird phrase: "You're all falsed up." No one else says it. It's our family because he just was messed up.
But you should maybe do it on a reel.
I'm only going to do one, and I'm going to say
talk about that. You talk like I did. I just recently did like things my father says. That I'm like, why? But there are generations of people that still say it.
Well, that's why I think you're so great because you're relatable. People are relating to your stuff.
And that's what's going to get your a real audience.
Well, that's what I realized with comedy that I need to work on is like the more I am honest about my life, my marriage, my kids, whatever, it's all relatable.
Listen, not to mention in my nose, but Louis C.K., once he started talking about how his kids were assholes.
Yeah. Game changer.
Game changer.
Yep. Totally.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, I'm going to let you go. I wanted to make you try and not sound like you're from the Bronx. Can you do it? Have you ever done it before?
I thought I was doing it this whole time.
Well, no. I mean, like I don't want, this is like a disservice to your voice because we've been talking about this whole episode. Can you just pretend like you're going to get groceries? And what do you think you would sound like if you weren't born and raised in the Bronx?
So I'm going to get this kale. And these oranges. And I'm going to pick up some cold cuts. I'll get bologna and cheese. And
where are you from in this scene? Where are you from?
I'm from Middle America. I don't know where I'm from. I'm from Connecticut, I think, right
There
now.
we go.
Right now I'm from Connecticut, and I'm gonna pick up some ginger. And what else do I have to buy at the supermarket? At the supermarket, I'm gonna get chicken. I think I would normally say chicken like that.
Yeah, that's good. I think that was amazing. That was awesome.
tried.
Here's the thing. I feel like you're sweating because that was like so hard
That
for you
was
to do. Also, I love that you're still Tara from the Bronx because no matter what on the list, you're like, I need the meat and cheese.
Right,
I need the
right.
bologna.
Right.
I'm going to say an Italian word even if
I'm gonna get the coffee beans.
Coffee.
I can't say it. Coffee.
How do you say coffee? Coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee. Yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah. I love the way you talk. Never change your voice. I was
No.
going to do that because I think it's going to be a funny clip,
Okay.
but never change
yeah.
your voice.
All right, that is going to be a funny clip.
Yeah, that's why I did that. I get to see it happening. Thank you for hanging out on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And my
for
little-
my coffee.
Yeah, and my
My
little
coffee. My
coffee. Don't ever change your voice. Keep doing you. Keep being authentic. I'm
you.
inspired by what you're doing. I'm glad to be your
Thank
friend
you.
now.
Yes.
Seriously. I
You're gonna
appreciate-
be careful what you wish for. I'm like, oh, I'll be back in 4 weeks.
Yeah, come back. Let's hang out. Let's do some things.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna do a bread tour of America one day too, or something.
I don't even want you to say that. I think that is our tour.
Travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Find where's the good bread? There
I
is
don't know.
none.
You open for me on the road. We'll just find.
I'm in.
We'll just find places. We'll film during the day.
Seriously.
We'll eat in good spots.
I would absolutely. I want to do more. I did a travel series in the pandemic, so I'm down.
Yeah, I'm down.
Done. All right.
Done.
Well, you'll see
Sold.
Tara and I on the road finding out your crappy
Look for our
Italian
new
restaurants.
schedule.
Yeah, we're gonna go diss your restaurants to the owners' faces in Ohio. Actually, Ohio might have some stuff.
You're not from New York, Jersey originally?
Yeah.
I would say we could have called it Borough Breads, Breads. but
Well, we want to be a borough so bad. Where I'm from, we're right across the
you won't.
bridge.
I mean, you're right.
I may be I may be closer to parts of the city than parts of the Bronx. No offense, where
Right.
I grew up.
Yeah.
But
No.
you guys have better cheese on Arthur Avenue. I don't know. I got a deli by me. I don't know. You got to come to Jersey sometime. I'll show you some real good food.
Yeah, you guys have some hot spots. Jersey's pretty authentic. I'm not gonna lie. The
best
people,
cheese.
the New Jersey Italians are just like New York Italians.
Yeah,
I love
well-
performing in New Jersey.
Well, you realize we're all from there. Like both sets of grandparents were Brooklyn and Bronx.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
the
like
natural
everyone just
progression.
migrated. Yeah,
It's everybody. I went to Westchester. It's what you do when you're from the Bronx.
exactly.
You get some green grass, some trees.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're in Westchester. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you said that last time. Yeah, maybe you are going to start talking like that Connecticut girl after the.
You can listen. You can take the girl out of the Bronx, right? You can't take the Bronx out of the girl.
No, you never will with you, which is why I love you. Tara,
Thank
thanks
you.
for
I
hanging
love you
out.
too.
Guys, thanks for being here. Come back. We're here every week. Season 2. We'll see you next time. Ciao, everybody.
This episode was brought to you by Barefoot Dreams. Now, there's no mistake why these guys were on the top Oprah's favorite things list for many years in a row. Oprah loves them. I love them. They do so many cool products: robes, shirts, blankets, t-shirts, all things in between. Pillows we got over here. I love that they really have taken this cozy chic fabric and put it on everything you could ever imagine, and it is unbelievably comfortable. Like everyone I've ever brought in here who's felt the products, who doesn't know this company or didn't know them before, my guests, they feel it and they can't believe it. They sit on the couch here, they go, wow, I'm sitting on a cloud of cozy. That's at least how I've been describing it, and that's how I think you would describe it if you felt it. And not just all that, they got the candles, they got stuff, they're doing furniture now, stuff for the home, stuff for outside the home, stuff for Team USA for the Olympics coming up, Disney. I love all the things they're doing, and they've been a part of the season so far, and it's been really awesome. And because they're a part of the season, because you're listening and watching, you can get 15% off your first purchase by checking out barefootdreams.com and putting in the promo code POPUP15. Thank you for checking them out. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.